Good evening, everybody. The meeting of the Committee of Student Achievement and School Innovation of the Milwaukee Board of School Directors will please come to order. Will the Secretary please call the roll?
Director Ferguson.
Present.
Director Fonz.
Present.
Director Herndon.
Present.
Director Benoit.
Present.
And Chair Seamson.
Present.
That's 5 present. We have a quorum.
The Pledge of Allegiance was recited at the previous meeting. This meeting is being conducted from the Central Services Building and may also be accessed via the MPS YouTube stream. Broadcast links and links to this evening's agenda items and attachments may be accessed online on the upcoming meetings page of the MPS website. Before we begin tonight's meeting, we have a short announcement regarding interpretation services for the Spanish-speaking members of our audience.
Buenas tardes y bienvenidos a la Junta Escolar de las Escuelas Públicas de Milwaukee. Si deseas escuchar esta reunión en español, por favor llame al 312-626-6799. Otra vez, 312-626-6799. Introduzca el número de reunión 608-130-5362. Nuevamente, el número de reunión es 608-130-5362. Gracias.
Thank you. For each of our items of business, we will hold a discussion and public hearing. If you wish to speak, please fill out a speaker's slip and bring it to our secretary, Dr. Owen Moore. We have no virtual speakers registered this evening. For the sake of fairness tonight and to give everyone a chance to speak, the chair reserves the right to limit the time allowed to any one speaker. Disruptive or disrespectful behavior will not be permitted. If it occurs, the meeting may be paused, and those involved may be asked to step out so we can continue in a safe and productive manner. Thank you for everyone who is helping us ensure a positive experience for all of us. And now, given that our focus this year is literacy, we have some help with the rest of our messages from one of our young readers, Kingsley, who is a 7th grader at Cooper Elementary.
Welcome to tonight's committee meeting. The committee will accept public comments on tonight's agenda items. Speakers may only address the item for which they have registered. Questions from the public may not be answered during the public comment period. Following public comment, the committee will begin its discussion, and no additional comments will be accepted. When you are called upon to speak, please state your name and spell your last name for the record. Like this: Tanya Jacobs, Jacobs. Written testimony will also be accepted for transmittal to the board. Send this testimony to the Office of Board Governance, P.O. Box 2181, Milwaukee, Wisconsin 53201 2181, or email it to governance@milwaukeek12wisconsin.us. Just as a reminder, Robert's Rules of Order dictates that all comments, questions, or requests should be directed to the chair, who will determine the most efficient way to address them. Also, no one other than members of the board, designated staff, or those who have been invited to present or participate in items of business will be allowed on stage before, during, or after meetings of the board and its committees.
Thank you, Kingsley, for being tonight's reader. If you have a child that would like to read for the board meeting, send a message to governance@milwaukee.k12.wi.us. Now let's begin. Madam Secretary, item number 1.
Madam Chair, item 1 is action on a recommendation to relocate the Deaf and Hard of Hearing program from Milwaukee Sign Language School. The recommendation is that the board approve the relocation of the Deaf and Hard of Hearing program from Milwaukee Sign Language School to Niskara School for the 2026-2027 school year.
Would the administration please present this item?
Chair Seamson and members of the committee, Brenda Casalia, Superintendent. On April 20th, 2023, the board approved Resolution 223R-018, establishing a task force to conduct a comprehensive review of the district's Deaf and Hard of Hearing program within Milwaukee Public Schools. Since that time, the administration has provided regular updates to the board through the Committee on Student Achievement and School Innovation. Following 2 years of task force meetings, surveys, and program comparisons, and in alignment with Administrative Policy 7.05, regarding program placement and instructional planning, the administration is recommending relocation of the DHH program currently housed at Milwaukee Sign Language to Niscara Elementary School. Students who currently attend the citywide program will continue to have the same citywide access and enrollment option at the new location. Niscara was identified as an ideal site for the program and already includes specialized lighting systems that support visual notifications for deaf and hard of hearing students. This evening, administration is seeking your approval to relocate the DHH program from Milwaukee Sign Language School to Niscara Elementary School. Thank you.
Thank you. Do any members of the public wish to make comments?
We do not have any speaker slips.
Okay, wonderful. Do committee members wish to make comments or ask questions? Oh, I'm sorry.
We do have one.
We do have one.
Okay.
Oh, yes, that is the one from the yes, that's okay. No worries. All right. Laylee McLaughlin.
HLIN. I just want to, before beginning my testimony, I want to clarify, where is middle school going? Is that going to Golden Year? Because you're just saying Niscara. So it maybe needs to be clarified for everybody, because there's 5 children that would be in limbo there if we didn't also move them. Just a clarifying bit there. Thanks, Travis. Well, anyway. Moving the school, it's not just moving a school. We're not just, it's so much more than that. It's ending a failed model of deaf education that's built on ableism, it's built on autism. It has failed. This is a move that represents just a monumental step into the DHH education reform. We will not be able to do anything more that we need to do, which is a lot, if we do not move this program this year. It's been years that we've been working on this. I mean, I think I got hired 11 years ago, and as soon as I got hired, I hit the ground running, and look, here, we're finally here. Thanks to the task force, obviously, that was a big proponent of it, but it shouldn't have taken that. You should have seen the data. You should have seen the segregation, literal segregation that you are enabling. So thank you. That should end today. It should end this year. So I'm very excited to not have my students be funneled in to a strict track that will prevent them from learning. I am very excited for children who are being funneled into a strict track and then given to us to, I don't know, make up 5 years of delayed language and education and development. Anyway, I am very excited for this. I hope that you all listen very carefully to all the information that is given, because we have been working tirelessly. We're here, we come to work every day. I don't think you understand how much we love these kids. So, that's all.
Thank you. Are there any other, we have no other public speakers, that's correct?
We do not.
Okay, thank you so much. Back to, Director Zambor?
I think I saw, does Linda Lou want to put a speaker slip in as well? I saw Linda Lou raise her hand. She might need to fill out a speaker slip.
Can I quickly go run out into the hallway and fill one out?
Yes. I'll if that's okay, I can ask, make a comment.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
then
well,
we'll let
yep,
another
and then
speaker
she can-
slip, because we're not done with the item yet.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Go
sorry.
ahead. No, that's
Thanks.
all right.
I just wanted to
President-
make sure
No,
she-
of course, President Zambor.
Okay. Well, actually, I'll
Okay.
wait. But
Right.
if you want to call her name, it's Linda Lou Fox Wheeler.
Well, she's writing. All right, and as soon as she is done writing, she can come to the podium. And Linda Lou. Thank you. Hot off the press.
Since you mentioned the task force, we're very excited. We've been making progress. understanding that that move is going to be temporary. We're really moving to get out of the environment we're currently in. My heart is so broken for our deaf and hard of hearing program. The mainstream setting is not a good learning environment for them, and we want to see more LRE, which is not happening in our environment. So moving is going to be helpful. We will be continuing with our task force, the planning, the education, the programming. We've already documented our mission, ultimate mission. And we've lost what we wanted at MSLS that was originally there. We want it to come back not only the same as before, if not stronger than before. So we're going to need help, and moving to Niscara for the K through, moving to Niscara for
K5.
K through 5, and Golden Mayer for 7th and 8th, or 6th and 7th. We're going to continue working with our task force. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you very much. All right, back to the committee for comments and questions. President Zambor.
Thank you, Chair Seamson, and thanks for letting me join the committee tonight. I just wanted to come just to speak on this item. I want to thank the task force for letting me join some of their meetings. I learned a lot about the program, the challenges that were happening at MSLS, and I think there was a lot of passion, tears, frustration, deep love for students. Like community engagement and having people engaged in these decisions is important, but we can't force so much of it that things take this long. I agree with what the first speaker said. It shouldn't have taken this long to make this move. And so just being mindful that sometimes when we delay decisions, that we're like almost over democratizing the process, and that kids actually suffer when they have to wait so long for us to make decisions. And sometimes we have to make decisions quickly. So I guess I'm sorry to everyone that it took this long for the move, but I just want to speak in support of it. My son went to Niscara. I know Director Seamson taught at Niscara. I'm hopeful that it will be a good place for a second start while the program continues to grow and thrive. And so I just wanted to come and speak in support of this.
Thank you. Are there any other committee members who have comments or questions on this item? Director Herndon.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. I'm glad to see this evening come as well, being one of the co-sponsors of the original resolution. I agree, we've gone through trials and tribulations during this several-year period, but I'm happy to see that we've made it to this point. My question of administration would be, is this a long-term plan for the two locations, or will there be unified at some point in a single group?
Administration.
Chair Seamson, Director Herndon, members of the committee, Travis Pinter, Senior Director of Specialized Services. I've had the pleasure of serving on the task force for the last few years, as you know, or a couple of years, and have reported out. This is a really important step, but it's a kind of a first step in some ways, so I don't want to completely predict or speak for the entirety of the task force. We are kind of working on that next issue, what this would look like. For a point of clarity, and I think it's been understood, but just to make sure, and Laylee had brought it up, it's in the assessment plan a little bit lower down. It does mention, so it's K through 5 for Niscara. It's 6 through, it says 6 and 7 only because we don't have current 8th grade students right now at MSLS, but for next year and going forward, it would be the middle school to Golda. So that's the current move. There's a lot of good reasons to do it. As far as what that looks programmatically and how that's combined and whether or not that space will have to look a little different based on that. That's the kind of what we're working on for the actual programmatic curriculum.
Thank you. Any follow-up? All right, thank you. Any other committee members for comments or questions? All right. What is the pleasure of the board with respect to this item? Director Ferguson?
I move approval of the administration's recommendation.
All right, thank you. Any other comments or questions? Seeing none. Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
On Director Ferguson's motion to approve the administration's recommendation, Director Ferguson.
Aye.
Director Fons.
Aye.
Director Herndon.
Aye.
Director Vanoy.
Aye.
And Chair Seamson.
Aye.
That's 5 ayes. The motion passes.
Yay. Thank you so much. Thank you to everybody who worked on this project. I know it was a lot of work, as President Zambor said, a lot of heartfelt conversations. So just thank you to everybody who's been involved in making this happen. Madam Secretary, next item, please.
Madam Chair, item 2 is action on a recommendation to relocate the Italian Immersion Program from Victory K-8 and Milwaukee Italian Immersion Schools to Highmount Community School. The recommendation is that the board approve the relocation of the Italian Immersion Program from Victory School to Highmount School to begin with 5-year-old kindergarten in the 2027-28 school year.
Would administration please present this item?
Director Seamson and members, this is another school that when I first came to the district, we had our community talking about these schools, and I met with the teachers and community members from the DHH program at Sign Language, and, you know, the tears and frustration and wanting to see their program survive. And then, of course, soon after that, the Italian Immersion Program as well was another one of those programs. And so we're trying to bring resolve to some of these issues that have been longstanding. And we have a few more out there that we'll be bringing you as well for solutions over the next several months. But this one is where we're requesting the approval to relocate the Italian Immersion Program from Milwaukee Public Schools from Victory K-8 School to Highmount Community School, beginning with K-5 in the 27-28 year, not this next fall, with plans for future grade level expansion. Restarting with 5-year-old kindergarten will help ensure strong instructional alignment, stable enrollment, and long-term sustainability for the program. This recommendation follows ongoing discussion with the families and community members and higher education partners over the past 2 years regarding the program's long-term viability and declining enrollment. Administration is now seeking board approval to formally relocate the program and begin implementation and recruitment efforts leading up to the planned 2027 launch. And the reason that we aren't doing it next fall is simply because we need to get an Italian immersion teacher and for our K-5 program. So, and then grow it from there. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Are there any speaker slips on this item?
I do not have any speaker slips.
All right, back to committee for comments and questions. Director Vanoy.
I just want to say, I'm very glad to see this finally come in front of the board, and I want to thank Gina Jorgensen for her tenacity and passion on this one. And I look forward to seeing great things happen for Italian immersion.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? All righty, what is the pleasure of the committee with respect to this item? Director Ferguson.
I move approval of the administration's recommendation to relocate the Italian immersion program from Victory and Milwaukee Italian Immersion Schools to Highmount Community School.
Wonderful. If there is no further discussion, Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
On Director Ferguson's motion to approve the administration's recommendation to relocate the Italian Immersion Program from Victory K-8 and Milwaukee Italian Immersion Schools to Highmount Community School. Director Ferguson.
Aye.
Director Fons.
Aye.
Director Herndon.
Aye.
Director Vanoy.
Aye.
And Chair Seamson.
Aye.
That's 5 ayes. The motion passes.
Thank you so much. Yeah. Thank you to everyone who worked on this item as well. I know there was, again, a lot of passion behind it, so I'm glad to see a happy outcome for everybody. Madam Secretary, next item, please.
Madam Chair, item 3 is report with possible action on the MPS Montessori strategic plan. This is an informational item, and although it has been noticed for possible action, no action is required.
Would administration please present this item?
Chair Simpson and members of the committee, Brenda Caselli is superintendent. I must say that I think we have some of the best Montessori schools in the nation, with the best fidelity to implementation, and I'm really excited about what you're going to hear tonight. The Montessori Strategic Plan, adopted in 2019 and revised in 2022, provides the framework for strengthening and supporting the district's 8 Montessori schools within Milwaukee Public Schools, which collectively serve more than 3,500 students. This evening's update will highlight progress on implementation, including completed initiatives, work currently underway, and key priorities for the future. I'll now turn it over to Coordinator Abigail Rausch and Principal Joe DiCarlo to present the update.
Good evening, Chair Simpson, members of the board. My name is Abigail Rausch, and I am the Montessori coordinator. I'm here this evening with Joe DiCarlo, principal of Maryland Avenue Montessori School, to provide an update on the Montessori Strategic Plan. The Ambitious Instruction Accelerating Learning Plan is the instructional framework for all schools and classrooms in MPS. We fulfill this expectation through utilizing the Montessori method, which is based on the philosophy that children reach their fullest potential through multi-age, interactive, and inquisitive, cooperative, and engaging atmosphere through self-directed activity and hands-on learning using unique materials. In addition, the 10 elements outlined in the district's academic standard of care are embedded in the Montessori philosophy.
Good evening, Chair Simpson, members of the committee, Joe DiCarlo, principal of Maryland Avenue Montessori School. We continue to build, or tonight we're pleased to provide an update on the progress of the Montessori Strategic Plan. We continue to build structures to strengthen and sustain the Montessori model across the district. Our focus remains on removing barriers, providing targeted support, and ensuring teachers can implement Montessori with fidelity. These efforts are grounded in cohesion, intentionality, and alignment across all 7 of the Montessori schools. Since our last update, we've made progress in several key areas. First, we continue to hold monthly meetings with Montessori principals to strengthen collaboration, alignment, and shared problem solving across the district, and I will add those were very beneficial to be able to meet monthly to work with the Montessori principals for our alignment across the district. We've also facilitated the Montessori Advisory Committee meeting in October and January. This year, our focus is on building a strong foundation to advance and sustain the Montessori program. We encourage all stakeholders to participate and share their insights as we plan for continued quality and growth. To promote meaningful dialogue, the MAC meetings now follow a small group workshop format. So upcoming meetings are scheduled for March 23rd and May 18th. Also, the Montessori program participated in both MPS kindergarten enrollment fairs. This year, the district introduced interactive learning stations to enhance family engagement. Rather than simply sharing information, families were able to experience a model Montessori lesson firsthand. These hands-on demonstrations provide an authentic glimpse into how children learn in the Montessori classrooms. We also hosted our Montessori Morning Open House, which was formerly known as the Montessori Summit, with 513 attendees. Chair Simpson, thank you for being there. Highlights included the all-school choir performance singing the Maria Montessori song, classroom visits showcasing our youngest learners, and presentations from students in grades 7 through 12 featuring products from the student-run microeconomy businesses. We also launched the Montessori-inspired social-emotional learning curriculum for lower elementary, developed in collaboration with the Office of Violence Prevention. This initiative integrates the district's second step lessons with Montessori's grace and courtesy instruction. The work includes developmentally appropriate materials, targeted teacher training, and integration into the district gradebook system in partnership with the Department of Research, Assessment, and Data. We also completed a 3-year project to establish scoring consistency across K-3 through grade 6. Teachers from across the district collaborated to calibrate scoring for every lesson and subject area. We defined 5 performance levels and deepened understanding of the Montessori 3-year assessment cycle. Because Montessori lessons are delivered at the point of need, it's essential that the teachers clearly understand the expectations for mastery. This reduces reliance on individual interpretation. It strengthens our ability to determine when a child's ready to move forward and to provide instruction precisely when it is needed. The recent district audit affirmed the positive impact of the Montessori strategic plan, recognizing a clear vision and cohesive implementation across all 7 schools. The findings highlighted program strengths while reinforcing the need for continued advocacy. After nearly a decade of development, Infinite Campus now includes featured alignment to the Montessori model, including support for 3-year grading cycles that reflect our multi-age classrooms. The Montessori lesson study process is designed to meet new district formative assessment expectations while honoring the integrity of the Montessori pedagogy. These cycles emphasize a means to which to foster, measure, and track improved student outcomes through high-quality instruction, achieved through the intersection of 4 key elements. First is the essential education standards. Second, professional learning communities, the PLCs. Third is the prepared adult. And fourth is the prepared Montessori environment with the Tier 1 Montessori instruction materials. At the core of this lesson study model, it's the belief that when these components intersect, they lead to meaningful, measurable student growth. The system blends high-quality Montessori education with structured collaboration and data-informed instruction. This approach ensures that students are supported both developmentally and academically, and that educators are empowered to grow together while meeting district and state expectations. And I wanted to personally thank Superintendent Caselius and Dr. Gabby, who has supported Montessori in this, and we've gotten fantastic feedback from the staff because we are able to truly focus on Montessori in our professional development that aligns to all the new district requirements and standards of assessment. So it's been very positive. We've gotten great feedback from our staffs. Also, the state report card results reflect very strong outcomes across the Montessori programs. Nearly all the Montessori schools demonstrate gains in achievement scores, with Lloyd Barbie, Craig, and McDowell showing double-digit increases. Also, all Montessori schools exceed the district average for on track to graduation by 10 points or more. All Montessori schools meet or exceed state expectations. Overall, schools at every Montessori school exceeded the district average, with Maryland and Fernwood exceeding the district by 20 points. These results reflect the intentional systems, collaboration, and instructional integrity that continue to strengthen our Montessori program district-wide. Okay. MPS continues to invest in high-quality teacher development through rigorous Montessori credentialing programs. These credentials, awarded through either the American Montessori Society, AMS, or the Association Montessori International, AMI, they're essential to ensuring effective classroom implementation and strong student outcomes. For the first time since the inception of the strategic plan, all Montessori classrooms are fully staffed. Yay. Yeah, a lot of hard work went into that, so that's a big effort. Currently, we still have 27 employees that are enrolled in Montessori credentialing, with 23 of those 27 already teachers of records in Montessori classroom. Of the 27, we still have 1 primary teacher and 4 secondary teachers in the credentialing pipeline available for next year. The Montessori, at this time, there are no Spanish-speaking teachers in the pipeline, unfortunately. The Montessori strategic plan calls for an annual retention survey of Montessori staff. This survey is critical due to the misalignment between MPS hiring timelines and the national Montessori recruitment cycles. Its purpose is to project both the number and type of Montessori teachers needed across the district. It also allows us to anticipate staffing changes within a 5-year window so that we can proactively support credentialing efforts, recognizing that Montessori certification can take up to 3 years to complete. This year's survey results indicate that 4 anticipated elementary openings for the fall of 2026, with up to 6 possible additional openings. To prepare for these projected needs, we're currently in discussion to launch a new elementary credentialing cohort at Grant Gordon beginning in January of 2027. As staffing needs for the fall continue to fluctuate, we're anticipating additional openings. Just last week, we initiated a targeted recruitment strategy to strengthen our Montessori programs by using existing Montessori strategic plan funds to offset tuition repayments obligations from experienced credentialed Montessori teachers who would like to join MPS. So some districts who sponsor tuition for their teachers to come in require them to repay the cost of Montessori training if they leave without their service commitment. That repayment requirement can become a significant barrier for talented educators who are otherwise interested in coming to MPS. In return, participating teachers would sign a 3-year commitment to teach in MPS, along with a repayment agreement if that commitment is not fulfilled. So the goal is pretty straightforward. We want to remove the financial barriers that prevent experienced Montessori educators from joining the district, while strengthening immediate staffing and capacity in our Montessori programs. Importantly, the great thing is this does not require any new funding. It comes out of the Montessori strategic plan budget that's already existing. It leverages the resources from the budget, both for recruitment of experienced teachers and for long-term program sustainability. Next slide. Okay, a new national study conducted by researchers from the University of Virginia and the University of Pennsylvania found that the typical preschool slide, as they call it, often observed in 5-year-old kindergarten students, did not occur among children who attended Montessori programs at ages 3 and 4. Instead, students from the study, including those enrolled in MPS Montessori schools, along with other public Montessori programs nationwide, demonstrated significantly stronger outcomes by the end of kindergarten. These students showed higher performance in reading, short-term memory, executive functioning, including working memory, impulse control, and cognitive flexibility, and social development, as well as modest gains in mathematics. The study followed 588 children over the course of 3 years across 24 public Montessori schools. In addition to Milwaukee, participating schools were located in Arlington, Virginia, Baltimore, Buffalo, New York, Dallas, Denver, District of Columbia, Fort Collins, Colorado, Hartford, Connecticut, Nashville, and Racine. The study was titled A National Randomized Control Trial of the Impact of Public Montessori Preschool at the End of Kindergarten. And the research represents the first national randomized controlled trial of public Montessori preschool programs. It is also the second extended study conducted within MPS Montessori schools. The first study, conducted at Craig Montessori School, including students from my original upper elementary classroom, I'll add, contributed to the book, The Science Behind the Genius. The findings were published in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences, one of the world's most highly cited scientific journals. Lead researcher Angeline Lillard has expressed interest in continuing this study with MPS beyond the initial 3-year period.
Chair Simpson, members of the committee, Abigail Rausch, Montessori coordinator. Looking to our future, we will be attending the American Montessori Society Conference. It's an annual conference, and it directly supports the goals of the Montessori Strategic Plan by increasing national awareness of MPS Montessori. In addition to presenting, we will host a staff recruitment booth to strengthen our pipeline of qualified Montessori educators. We will continue to work on the creation and duplication of Montessori-specific materials, which comprise approximately 25% of classroom resources. We've been working to have these systematized and relieving teachers of the burden to create those individually. This effort, co-led by Montessori planning assistant Erica Wolf, aims to ensure that every classroom meets a minimum standard of materials. For the 7th consecutive year, MPS will offer a Montessori-specific summer school program for students in K-5 through grade 8. This year, it's being held at McDowell Montessori School. This program reinforces core academic skills while maintaining the integrity of the Montessori environment for students who have attended Montessori programs exclusively during the school year. In partnership with the Department of Facilities and Maintenance Services, we are developing a minimum standard of care for Montessori schools. After establishing the minimum standard of care for classroom materials, we're now advancing on to our next phase, defining expectations for the physical spaces in those Montessori schools. And that would include both classrooms and outdoor learning environments. This work ensures that our facilities align with the Montessori model and support high-quality implementation. And we are very, very honored that the National Center for Montessori in the Public Sector has selected the Milwaukee Public Schools as its focal site for its 2026 conference. This partnership presents a valuable opportunity to showcase the authenticity and strength of our Montessori programs. It will support future teacher recruitment and elevate MPS within the national Montessori network. All 7 of our Montessori schools have been invited to host conference tours on Friday, April 17th. We will then facilitate a question and answer session for attendees. Additionally, many members of our MPS Montessori community will be serving as presenters at that conference. The continued success of MPS's Montessori program is a direct result of deliberate planning, cohesive strategy, and a shared commitment to child-centered education. While we have made significant strides in credentialing, instructional alignment, instructional support, challenges remain in ensuring sustained staffing, equitable material access, and deep district-wide understanding of Montessori practices. With the board's ongoing support, we remain committed to the Montessori strategic plan and to providing equitable, high-quality Montessori education all across our participating schools. At this time, we would be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you so much. Do any members of the public wish to make comments?
We do not have any speaker slips.
All right. Do committee members wish to make comments or ask questions on this item? Director Benoit.
I just want to thank you. My children went to Montessori school in MPS, and I cannot speak highly enough of the experience that we all had there. And even watching them in the program made me a better teacher, even though I'm not a Montessori teacher. I use a lot of what I learned from my kids in the classroom. So thank you very much for all the work you do. I really appreciate it.
Any other committee members? All right, well, I'll make a few comments. So first of all, where to start? So the morning open house that you held was just beautiful to watch. The families touring the rooms, coming with their babies was just incredible. I ran into a friend of my daughter, so they all went to MPS, and here she was with her baby coming to look at, our classroom. So families really do pay attention and start coming to our schools and taking those tours early to start thinking about what program is the best fit. So that is such a great opportunity. I have to just pause and acknowledge where we're at now and where I felt like we were when I started on the board. I remember going to one of the meetings early on, and there were just such serious issues of equity, materials, growing our pool, growing administration, kind of like that struggle to keep that investment going. And I feel like we have grown, thanks to the work that you're doing, so much, where it feels much more like we're in just a much more comfortable place right now, kind of more of an even playing field for all of the Montessori schools. So I just really want to thank you for the work that you have diligently put forward over the years, from everybody from the principals who are showing up at those meetings and your leadership in that, and now administration's support of this program. So just it's been quite a process and a lot of hard work. So I just want to acknowledge that. I did have one question. I'm just wondering with the enrollment, where we're at with the Montessori. If you have that information, you may not have it, but do we have any schools with wait lists? What is that enrollment looking like for our schools in the fall?
Chair Seamson, members of the board, Abigail Rausch, Montessori coordinator. To address that question, what information I have is the enrollment for this current year.
Okay.
So the process is, because we are done with a lottery system, those have not been solidified, but I do have that information from last year, if that's at all helpful to you. It does, lead us to, provide information as we continue to move forward. So what information, Chair Simpson, what information in particular, just?
So I know that in the past we've had schools with, some of the Montessori schools have had a pretty hefty wait list, and I know families were counseled sometimes a shift to one of the other Montessori schools. I was just wondering sort of like, has that, and it might be too early to, maybe we have to just have this conversation down the road, but just kind of wondering if we are doing a better job of helping our families find a Montessori school for them.
Director Stevenson, members of the committee, Abigail Roush, Montessori coordinator. So so when that does happen, Student Services does send families to me directly. And so I work with those families, I look at, talk to them, see what age their children is. I look at the wait list and what's available. We talk about, are you able to self-transport? Do you need bus transportation? And then we look and see what's available. And I see what spots we have, and I personally match those families up to the school leader that might have a vacancy. So if someone is on a wait list and there's openings at a different school, that is kind of a big chunk of the work I do in June once that's been solidified. So we definitely, work to, if a family is interested and we have a spot for them, work to ensure that those families get that information.
Okay, thank you. Any other committee members with comments or questions? Sorry, okay. Thank you. Thank you for that update. Always love to hear about the special programs that we have in our district, and clearly this is an investment that is well worth it. So thank you very much for the work that you're doing. Madam Secretary, next item, please.
Madam Chair, item 4 is transmittal of and possible action on the Achievement Gap Reduction Program's mid-year report. This is an informational item, and although it has been noticed for possible action, no action is required.
Would administration please present this item?
Chair Simpson and members of the committee, Brenda Casalias, Superintendent. The Student Achievement Guarantee in Education, the SAGE program, is established under Wisconsin statute in 1996, later transitioned to the Achievement Gap Reduction Program following state legislation in 2015. Since FY 17, participating schools have implemented AGR strategies designed to support early literacy and academic success. Currently, 63 traditional schools and 1 non-instrumentality charter school within Milwaukee Public Schools participate in the AGR program using strategies such as instructional coaching in grades K-5 to 3 and maintaining reduced class size ratios to support small group instruction. The program also requires schools to report on implementation outcomes to the board on a regular basis. To present our presentation this evening, I am joined by Supervisor Allison Foyer, supported by Manager Chrissy Washington, who I will now turn it over to.
Good evening. Can you hear that? Good evening, Chair Simpson and other members of the committee. I'm Allison Foyer, the Early Childhood Supervisor, and I'm here to provide a mid-year report on the Achievement Gap Reduction Program. As such, this update is a contractual requirement mandated by the Department of Public Instruction for the AGR program. Our commitment to all means all is a call to action to ensure every student, regardless of background, receives equitable access to high-quality, rigorous instruction. Recent data clearly shows where we need to focus to make this a reality. Data from both our internal observations and an external audit provide a clear, undeniable picture of where we are and where we need to go. It underscores why our renewed focus on ambitious instruction with its clear components and our new structures are absolutely vital. Our 2025-2026 Ambitious Instruction Plan is rooted in 3 beliefs: strong Tier 1 instruction, daily, standards-aligned instruction using high-quality instructional materials is the most powerful lever for student success. We can't intervene our way out of a weak core instruction. All means all. Every student must have access to grade-level instruction. No exceptions. Equity starts in the classroom. And clarity in action. Teachers need clear expectations and outcomes to guide their practice and track progress. These beliefs are the backbone of our ambitious instruction framework. The Ambitious Instruction Accelerating Learning Plan brings the district back to the basics of quality learning and teaching. It unites all content areas around formative practices, explicit instruction, and meaningful student engagement. Each grade level and content area will embrace specific instructional practices around these areas. Moving into the specifics of our reach, the The Achievement Gap Reduction Program is currently active in 63 schools and 1 non-instrumentality charter school. To give you a sense of the population we serve, we have 10,072 students enrolled. Our student body is highly diverse, primarily composed of Black or Hispanic students. Within this group, 22.2% are English language learners, 26.2% receive special education services, and 82.2% are identified as economically disadvantaged. These schools are spread across all 9 MPS learning communities. To drive achievement, we implement 2 primary district-wide strategies: maintaining small classroom ratios, 18:1 or 30:2 in K-5, and provide instructional coaching for all participating students from K-5 through 3rd grade. Our core philosophy is that we can close the achievement gap by empowering teachers with the right instructional supports. By fostering high-quality, responsive classroom environments, we directly impact student success. This work is anchored in our ambitious instruction focus. Through this framework, we provide a multi-level system of support for our staff in areas like collaborative practices, balanced assessments, high-quality instruction, culturally responsive teaching in both ELA and math. The AGR office actively supports these content areas through various initiatives designed to help students reach grade-level proficiency. I'll be highlighting several of these specific supports later in the presentation. Finally, as a reminder, the school board reviews our implementation progress and performance objectives at the end of every semester as part of our ongoing commitment to the program. Moving into our assessment framework, it is important to note that the Wisconsin Department of Public Instruction has selected Ames Web Plus as the mandated statewide early literacy screener for students in grades K-4 through 3rd grade. We utilize the results from the screener to proactively identify students who are considered at risk and ensure they are supported with a personalized reading plan. Together, these assessments allow us to determine specific student requirements and drive data-informed instructional decisions that directly support our ambitious instruction framework, particularly through small group instruction and targeted coaching cycles. This slide provides a breakdown of how our AGR schools are performing in the Ames Web Plus reading assessment, specifically looking at the growth from fall to winter test windows. Our winter data confirms a positive trajectory for AGR schools. We are successfully moving students out of the lowest percentile ranks and into the benchmark zones. While this growth is evident district-wide, our 3rd grade cohort saw the most significant gains, with over a third of the AGR schools showing measurable improvement. We look forward to building on this momentum as we head into the spring assessment window. These figures reflect the data from the Ames Web reading assessment given in both fall and winter. This assessment is a critical tool for us to monitor progress and ensure that the percentage of students meeting benchmarks continues to move in the right direction across all grade levels. Complementing the Ames Web assessment is iReady, which provides tailored reading and mathematics lessons to students in grades K-8 based on their specific needs. It uses data from the iReady diagnostic to create a customized self-paced learning path designed to help students grow. This slide breaks down the student engagement and performance with iReady reading lessons from kindergarten through grade 3. It compares MyPath lessons, which are automatically tailored to each student's needs, with teacher-assigned lessons, which are targeting specific grade level standards. On average, students are achieving the 70% pass rate along all lesson types, which is the established goal for this program, and indicates that the content remains appropriately challenging yet accessible for our students. Taking a closer look at our grade level performance, our kindergartners maintained a consistent 68% pass rate across both lesson types, which accounts for 432 students in MyPath and 15 in teacher-assigned lessons. It is important to note that these lower usage numbers and gains in kindergarten are often intentional, as our instructional focus for our younger learners prioritize hands-on, tactile learning experiences over extended screen time. Moving into 1st grade, we saw an increase in proficiency with a 79% pass rate for the 1,704 students in MyPath and a 75% pass rate for the 44 students working on teacher-assigned content. Our 2nd graders actually demonstrated the highest overall proficiency this period. Their 1,813 students received an 85% pass rate in MyPath, while the 59 students in teacher-assigned lessons reached an impressive 87%. Finally, our largest cohort in third grade showed very strong results, with 1,967 students earning an 83% pass rate in MyPath and 186 students maintaining a 79% pass rate for their teacher-assigned lessons. This slide highlights the measurable impact of our literacy coaching efforts and our strategic partnerships. The district continues to deepen teachers' understandings of the science of reading, strengthen instructional confidence, and improve student literacy outcomes through letters training. To date, over 500 AGR teachers have participated in ongoing letters module sessions. In support of the upgrade to HMH Volume 3, Version 3, the district also provided an in-person training for grades K-5 through 5 that emphasized modeling and deeper conceptual understanding, with more than 600 AGR staff attending. Finally, to elevate the district's instructional coaching strategy, MPS literacy coaches have been intentionally assigned to each learning community. These coaches will serve as key contacts and provide ongoing support and collaboration with HMH in-person coaches, who will also model instruction and provide curriculum-based coaching. This slide highlights the measurable impact of our math coaching efforts in our strategic partnerships. To support our curriculum implementation, iReady specialists have partnered with Achievement Gap Reduction Schools to utilize the Try It, Discuss It, Connect It framework. This approach fosters deep conceptual understanding through hands-on learning and mathematical discourse. Since the beginning of the 2025-26 school year, we have completed 152 collaborative visits by district coaches, including 28 tailored support visits from our dedicated specialist. In addition to these partnerships, our coaches have supported Counting Collection, a hands-on routine where students build number sense and place value understanding. We've completed 106 visits across 18 schools to support this specific routine. 308 AGR teachers have been trained in counting collections. Currently, 11 teachers are receiving intensive job-embedded support through 6-week student-centered coaching cycles. Much of this work is integrated into professional learning communities across 24 schools, where teachers collaborate to reflect on student work and apply new strategies in real time. Together, this layered approach, combining specialist partnerships, foundational routines, and intensive coaching, is driving improved instruction and student outcomes across our AGR schools. Turning to our accomplishments and next steps, we have made significant strides in supporting our AGR teachers and schools. A major highlight is the targeted student-centered coaching support that our district math coaches provided to 11 AGR teachers. To date, we also successfully completed AGR walkthroughs in 62 classrooms, the majority of which took place during the literacy block. It was notable that many of these classrooms were teaching phonics using the slide presentations included in the HMH curriculum. Furthermore, teachers in grades K-5 through 3rd are continuing their letters training through the district. As they progress, they will be even better equipped to provide high-quality instruction that leads to improved outcomes for our students. We have also completed the beginning of year reports for all 64 AGR schools and added new specific resources to our dedicated AGR Google Classroom to further support our educators. Looking ahead, our focus remains on continuous improvement. We will continue to engage in AGR walkthroughs, monitor our overall strategies, and maintain the Google Classroom with fresh resources. Additionally, we are committed to providing ongoing support for the implementation of HMH Version 3 and iReady to ensure both our students and teachers have the tools they need for continued success. This concludes the update. I'll be happy to respond to any questions you may have. Thank you.
Thank you. Do any members of the public wish to make comments on this item?
They do not.
All righty. Do committee members wish to make comments or ask questions? Seeing none? No? Oh, Director Ferguson.
Thank you, Chair Simpson. I just want to commend you guys on the progress that we're making, and keep up the great work. Thank you.
Any others?
Thank you.
One thing that would be nice to see is like a comparison of like the data over time, like last year to this year. That would be a nice thing to have added to the slides, or if you can just share anything that you have just I don't know if we have any of that data at our fingertips, or just send it to, the board.
Director Simpson, members of the board, Allison Foyer, Early Childhood Supervisor. Yes, we could certainly prepare something for you, but I want, to understand that the metrics from last year are different from this year. Do some different assessments.
So there, I was wondering if with the iReady, because were we using that last year, if there was anything measurable to compare or not? Because I know we were talking, I know that there is like a benchmark, right, with the Ames assessment. Is there any data that we would have that would be useful or not really?
Director Simpson, members of the board, Allison Foyer, Early Childhood Supervisor. We will look into this and see what we can get together for you.
Yeah, and if there isn't something, that's fine too. I just didn't know if there was something we could use to measure progress.
Director Simpson, members, I believe that our Director of Assessment is here for later on with Gabby Valley-Menace, who's going to be doing a literacy update. And but what I can tell you is I've asked them for baseline data, so they are gathering baseline data for this year so that we can look at it next. Whenever you're getting right in the implementation, and we just started implementation last month because they just got their print materials, those results are not going to give us anything but a baseline from year to year. So,
okay, thank you so
thanks.
much. Any other committee members? All right. Seeing no further comments from committee members, thank you so much. Appreciate all of that information updates, and it's really nice to see some of those bar graphs growing. So, thank you. Madam Secretary, next item, please.
Madam Chair, item 5 is report with possible action on graduation rates. This is an informational item, and although it has been noticed for possible action, no action is required.
Would administration please present this item?
Chair Simpson and members of the committee, Brenda Casellia, Superintendent. A little bit more good news. I like these kind of board meetings that we have. The 4-year graduation rate for Milwaukee Public Schools has continued to improve, increasing from 65.2% for the class of 22 to 67.9% for the class of 2024, and reaching 71.6% for the class of 2025. And also, if you look at the 5-year rate for the class of 2024, we're at 75%. Growth is reflected across all racial and ethnic student groups represented in the district. Early analysis suggests the increase is supported by a combination of strategies, including strengthened academic and career planning, credit recovery opportunities, dual enrollment, expanded college and career supports, summer academy and credit makeup, improving monitoring of student progress, and data systems. To share out on this item, I will now turn it over to Directors John Hill and Natalie Collins.
Good evening, Chair Simpson, members of the committee, Natalie Collins, Director of Research Assessment and Data. I'm joined tonight by my colleague, Dr. John Hill, Director of College and Career Readiness. We're here tonight to provide an overview of the graduation rates. Tonight, we are very proud to highlight a significant milestone in our district's journey. In 2005, our 4-year high school completion rate reached 71.6%, marking a steady and inspiring upward trend from 63.8% in 2021, and the highest it has been since the implementation of the 4-year adjusted cohort model in the 2009-2010 school year. It's important to understand that the 4-year adjusted cohort model we use today is fundamentally more rigorous than the methods that were used prior to the class of 2010. Prior to this implementation, Wisconsin used what we now refer to as the legacy graduation rate. This calculation was fundamentally different because it didn't track individual students from freshman year to graduation. Instead, the graduation rates were often based on estimates, a snapshot of who finished high school compared to general guesses of who started. And additionally, the old method included students who took longer than 4 years to graduate, counted GEDs and alternative certificates as standard diplomas, and the legacy rates, therefore, often appeared significantly higher than the newer adjusted cohort rates. The adjusted cohort model changed things in 3 specific ways. We now follow every student by their state ID number from the first day of 9th grade in a Wisconsin school to the last day of 12th grade. We have to account for the removing of students from our denominator. We only count a student as a graduate if they earn a regular high school diploma within exactly 4 years. When these rules were first implemented, graduation rates across the country naturally dipped. Therefore, the progress we're seeing today isn't just a trend, it's a hard-earned achievement. We're meeting a higher standard of transparency, and our students are succeeding under the most stringent measurement. This slide illustrates the four-year high school completion rates from 21 to 25 broken down by race and ethnicity. The data shows a collective upward trend with the district-wide rate represented by the black line. Notably, we see growth among several groups. Our Asian student population continues to lead with the highest completion rate, reaching 83.3% this year. We also observe a strong recovery and upward trajectory for students identifying as two or more races, and they saw a sharp increase this year to 80.5%. While some gaps remain, the narrowing distance between lines for Black, Hispanic, and white students indicates that our progress is becoming more consistent across the district. This data confirms that while the baseline is rising for everyone, we are successfully accelerating outcomes for the students who need it most. This achievement is a testament to the collective efforts of our educators, our families, and our students, and it reflects the success of our targeted support to ensure that every student in Milwaukee Public Schools has the resources they need to cross the graduation stage and succeed in their next chapter.
When the offices, departments, and schools work together, good things happen. Our rising graduation rates are driven by a comprehensive system of support that integrates strategic community partnerships, expanded academic opportunities, and rigorous data monitoring along with academic instruction. First and foremost, we acknowledge the work that takes place daily in the classrooms and schools across the district. This includes the support of the Department of Public Instruction with school teams and school improvement plans, as well as coaching from Cooperative Educational Service Agency number 1. Most importantly, teachers utilizing good instructional practices that address both academics and behavior are essential to student success. Targeted efforts such as credit recovery and summer school offer essential second chances for students to earn required credits, keeping them on track for a four-year graduation. Helping students see their future aspirations and the next steps needed are critical in keeping students motivated to continue to work towards graduation. This includes academic career planning, also known as ACP, and the MQ Partnership, which is a collaborative effort involving Milwaukee Public Schools, Milwaukee Area Technical College, and the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee, that works to streamline and support the transition from high school to college. Also helping our students look forward, our college and career centers provide students with direct support for post-secondary planning, helping them with applications for jobs, internships, apprenticeships, college scholarships, financial aid, and career exploration. Behind the scenes, efforts like continuous transcript reviews by school counselors and a rigorous data cleanup in Infinite Campus to ensure no student falls through the cracks. Moving forward, we are committed to not only maintaining these graduation trends, but ensuring every student is fully prepared for the challenges post-secondary education and the workforce. We celebrate the growth and recognize there's still much that needs to be done. In addition to maintaining and refining what we have just discussed on the previous slide, we are leveraging the Team Gear Up grant, which will impact over 4,000 students to enhance academic rigor and better prepare them for post-secondary opportunities. A major priority is reducing first-time course failures through early intervention programs and improved programming and scheduling across the high schools. Stronger monitoring of student data to ensure every learner stays on track. This involves building the systems to ensure data is looked at and acted upon on a regular basis. Simultaneously, we are expanding access to high-level opportunities like advanced placement, dual enrollment, and work-based learning. By strengthening these academic pathways and industry certifications, we aren't just helping students graduate through increased engagement, we are ensuring they graduate ready for the challenges of college and/or the workforce. Thank you, and this concludes our presentation. At this time, we are happy to take any questions you may have.
Thank you so much for sharing that exciting news with us. We do have a speaker slip, so I'm going to call that first. Could I please have Quentin Claiborne come forward?
Hi, Quentin Claiborne, K-L-A-B-O-N, extemporaneous, sorry. First of all, yeah, statewide data came out. This is, I guess, more of a communications on the topic suggestion. There was also good news on attendance and chronic absenteeism and on suspensions dropping as well. Coupling that to show like overall improvement for the district may, for the people who read press releases, may be the kind of thing that suggests that that improvement is real, you know, rather than something else. And it's great news to share, especially because it's not true statewide. I was surprised at some of the districts that had dropping attendance, rising chronic absenteeism, rising suspensions, including places you maybe wouldn't expect. Secondly, I was hoping for the benefit of the public, I know some people can be, there are good and bad credit recovery programs, I guess I'll just say. I was wondering if possible depth could be added to talk about the ways in which credit recovery in Milwaukee is good and authentic and giving kids the skills they need rather than getting to a certain number of credits. And then lastly, I remember like a few years ago, I don't know if this is the best idea for any district to do, but they put the number of, you rightly mentioned the number of ninth grade failures is like a great indicator of ultimate failure to graduate. And I remember a few years ago, Milwaukee put the percentage of students who fail their introductory courses. I remember, especially because it was coming back from the pandemic, I believe like a third of students failed gym or something just because they weren't like showing up. So I don't know if it's good to put out the numbers exactly, but have you communicated to the board the percentage of students who are at risk for failing those ninth grade courses as kind of like a health indicator for ultimate graduation rates? Thanks, that's all.
Thank you. Do any committee members wish to make comments or ask questions on this item? Mr. Chason.
Thank you, Chair Simpson. Matt Chason, OIE. One of the bases that's here in terms of what may have contributed was the data quality monitoring and the data cleanup in Infinite Campus. Can you describe a little bit more on what we're doing in that area?
Administration.
Chair Simpson, Mr. Chason, Natalie Collins, Director of Research Assessment and Data. A lot of the data quality stems from several areas. One of them would be the WISE network errors that go across the state of Wisconsin, whereby our student information system, Infinite Campus, other school districts across the state do the same thing. Our data feeds up nightly to a system there. And then there's several, I wouldn't pretend to know the number, but 100 plus errors then that a large team of us across several departments and offices in the district review on a regular basis. Some of them come out at certain times of year based on what's happened, like after Third Friday is a big swing of that. And so a large widespread team of people review those errors on a that data on a regular basis, whereby we can catch what might be a potential data error, clean it up that would positively reflect on something like high school graduation rate. So one of those errors, for example, would be potential dropouts. There's an error that triggers that says, this student is a potential dropout because we didn't find them anywhere else in the state of Wisconsin picked up by that state ID number. And so then our team takes a look at, well, why didn't they pick them up? And we pour over the PLP notes that the school puts in, any other indicators in Infinite Campus such as N status, N comments. We call other school districts to say, did Natalie really show up there? And sometimes an error might be as simple as They couldn't find me in the system, and so they started a new ID number for me, and then that didn't match. And then they think Natalie dropped out, not that Natalie transferred to a different school district. I'm going quite into detail of that process because I think it's one of the big data cleanups we do on as far as the state system. And one of the biggest errors related to that. There's nightly transcripts reviews that occur, that kick out information, that let us know that students are scheduled in the right courses and earning the right credits towards graduation. We're regularly reviewing when schools mark students as high school completer. We're going back and double checking that they hit all those components. There's several reports my team runs on a weekly or biweekly basis that looks for those different things, connecting credits and high school completion rates.
Dr. Caselius?
Director Simpson, one of the things that I have pretty known for since I was commissioner is being a hawk on graduation rates and really looking at four-year course planning for our students once they come into ninth grade, looking at the ninth grade failures and making sure. I actually look at fifth grade graduation rate, and I look at where are elementary students in the terminal grade of fifth grade, and do those fifth graders actually graduate, and what high school do they graduate, and how are elementaries contributing to whether students actually graduate or not. And I did that analysis in Boston, and it is incredibly useful for our elementary principals and school and leaders to understand their contribution to graduation rates so that high schools don't feel so alone. The second thing I did, and I haven't yet had a chance to talk to our leaders here about, is really looking at, and we changed in our accountability system in Minnesota, was the way that we count graduation rate for a specific school. And I've heard here in Milwaukee that a student might transfer from one school and go to another school, and then all of those non-graduates will be assigned to another one particular school. And I have to investigate whether that's actually happening. I heard that there are 2 high schools in our system that are assigned graduates who maybe they didn't have in 9th, 10th, or 11th, or even 12th grade. And so I want to be able to look at that more deeply so that we aren't exacerbating an image in one school because of practices that we have, for how we might assign students after they transfer, right? So if you have a behavioral transfer or a student who is expelled, they might be assigned to one school just as a graduation. I am of the belief that you should be charged, and this is what we did in Minnesota with our accountability system, the percentage of the graduate that you actually had the student with you, so that you don't have this practice of high schools protecting their graduation rate and transferring kids out to an alternative school, and then the alternative school is the one that gets dinged for the graduation rate. And so I haven't had that level of specificity to dig into our data systems yet and whether we're doing those practices here, but you can bet that is something I'm going to be looking at because it's not fair to those high schools to be assigned the graduation rate to students who actually didn't actually appear until 6 months into their senior year. And I know Director Vinoy would appreciate this as a teacher of an alternative school. Now, certainly, teachers and principals of an alternative school, it's their job. That's why they're there, to see kids be successful. I mean, they're like their second chance, right? And last chance sometimes to get kids their diploma. And so this is something that Dr. Elia Brueggemann has also worked with me in the past on. She's also a hawk on these matters. And summer opportunities, credit recovery opportunities, GED opportunities, adult diploma opportunities for some of our other students who need additional years to do it. We were able to keep kids for age 21. We don't give up when they're 18. I care about 4-year graduation rate, but I just care about that child getting a GED or a diploma and have life success. So that's one thing. And then the final thing I'll say is when you look at graduation rates, if you see ACT scores going down, if you see attendance going down, and Quentin kind of got to this, you're suspect of your graduation rate. And so, but when you see all of the indicators, ninth grade failures going down, you see course planning going up and student engagement going up, even athletic and club participation for students and engagement. These are indicators that later on you're going to see more higher graduation. And so this is something that I'm going to dig into, and we're going to set some really high bars and targets for our high schools, but we have to just make sure that our data is clean and that the scores that we're reporting on today are the district scores in a few of our schools, but we want to make sure all schools are equitably treated, comparably and fairly. And so I'm going to make sure that that happens as well. Thanks.
Thank you so much for those comments. Do any members of the committee wish to make comments or ask questions? Dr. Benoit says thank you. All right. Thank you for that good news tonight. Really appreciate it. Madam Secretary, next item, please.
Madam Chair, item 6 is the monthly report with possible action on the MPS FY26 Academic Literacy Plan. This is an informational item, and although it has been noticed for possible action, no action is required.
Would administration please present this item?
They're just preparing their slides right now. Speaking because
It's
we're
a
on the
long
radio.
one.
It is.
I'm like, do we really have like 2 more left?
We got this.
Our brains are all a
This is
little
the
I think we
good
got
stuff.
home like at what,
Yeah.
midnight last night or
Yeah.
something, you know? Working on 2 hours of sleep, so forgive me. Lots of good news this evening, though, in the SASI committee and in the FACES committee, so it's good. All right, Chair Simpson and members of the committee, Brenda Caselli is superintendent. Since August 28, 2025, the administration has provided regular updates on the 25-26 academic plan with a particular focus on literacy. These updates have included responses to stakeholder questions, presentations on district assessments, literacy plan progress, professional development, HMH version 3 materials, and collaborative work across schools, academic offices, and with our union partners. Tonight, administration will share key progress indicators, insights from HMH learning walks, scheduled coaching and modeling days, and ongoing collaborative efforts to support literacy. I gotta say, it started out as a bumpy ride, but our team dug in, took the feedback, and we continue to grow. And I'm really excited about the leadership of our Deputy Chief, Gabriela Belli-Menes, and Jennifer Minhouse, Chief Academic Officer, and the really diligent work that they've done to get it back on track and support our teachers.
Jim Simpson and members of the committee, Gabriel Jimenez, Deputy Chief Academic Officer, thank you so much for the opportunity to come over and share some updates for this month. I am happy to be presenting alongside Chief Mims Howell, our Chief Academic Officer, and just to ground us in our aspirational vision, right? Like we're working diligently so that all of our kiddos are readers and that all of our teachers and all the grown-ups in the organization are able to support us in ensuring that our kiddos are living MPS reading and writing at a grade level. We have been doing quite a bit of work. In January, or by the middle of January, our academics team had finished a very important partnership with each and every one of our schools to ensure that all of the materials that were received before we went into winter break were out of boxes and delivered into classrooms. We also ensure that our principals engage in professional development on January the 14th, and then we kicked off professional development for all K-5 on January 26th. February was a really busy month for us. We had an internal goal to start engagement with the delivery of HMH version 3 materials by January 26th. So by February, we were engaging in learning walks to see how was it that we were making sense on our own on the use of the resources. I am happy to report that even though the month of February is a very short month, we did 122 learning walks, and that is not a small feat. We also, on the last week of the month, started with 12 HMH modeling days. We're going to talk more about that in a minute. And we also, based on the feedback that we received, created additional opportunities of professional development during the weekends on Saturdays, not on Sundays, on Saturdays. In March, we're starting our round 2 of learning walks. We are continuing the work with the HMH modeling days, and we are creating additional opportunities. We are going to continue to engage in this cyclical work coming up in the months of April, May, and June through more learning walks, more opportunities for modeling, and more professional development. The agenda for today is robust, but we're going to try to move briefly through it. We're going to talk a little bit about professional development, the literacy learning walks, HMH coaching and modeling days. We want to share with you the cadence for collaboration that we have established and how is it that we are working with a great amount of intentionality to include teacher voice. All right, let's start with professional development. On the month of February, we have district-wide professional development on February 17th. We are using the same color scheme that we have used before, in which for each of the prompts, the yellow and cream colors are the strongly disagree and the disagree. The gray continues to be the neutral, but we are really looking forward and we want to elevate the blue bars because those are the agree and the strongly agree. So we collected professional development of a total of 381 team members, and you continue to see how, as we shared last month, we are getting better at getting better, right? Like for the first part of the graph, you're going to see like the answers to this PD was appropriately tailored to my grade level, subject area, and role. And you can see how 46% are the agree and 34% are for the strongly agree. And you can see how we said that this trending continues to show throughout all of the indicators for February the 17th. On February 17th, we were happy to partner with our post-high school partners through MQ Professional Development. This is something for which the Office of Academics is really, really proud. We collected feedback for 202 colleagues that engage, and once again, you can see how the session advanced the development of the instructional capacity, with the blue bars continuing being the winning color across all of them. And this is something for which we continue to feel very proud. This slide is helping us tell the story on how it is the professional development led by MPS over time continues to get better. So in this, the color scheme for the yellow is for November of last year, professional development. The light blue is December. The deeper blue is January, and then the dark blue is February. So you can see how there is an upward trend in relationship to the ways in which we are receiving feedback from stakeholders on how appropriately tailored the content is, on how the professional development was structured in a way to allow for a reflection and discussion, and other important items that we have been collecting data on. So the trending is quite positive. This is another way of looking at the data for the 17th. About 82% or the vast majority, of course, 82% selected agree or strongly agree when asked on whether or not the ideas and the strategies from the professional development were connected to improving student learning. Our goal is to ensure that professional development becomes a turnkey opportunity for teachers to learn something, let's say on Wednesday, and on Thursday being able to try it on. Many of the respondents named that there were specific tools like data collection that were important for them. And we have some positive feedback also from our staff that is supporting special education teachers on especially design professional development. And we have some of the quotes here for your reading pleasure. There are always opportunities for us to improve. The good thing about working in education is that there's always ways in which we can continue to get better. So we are going to continue to prioritize relevant role-alike professional development opportunities to differentiate learning. In a year of learning so much content, it's sometimes hard to find the just right space to be able to differentiate, but please know that we continue working on it. And of course, because feedback is a gift, we are continuing to try to find what is the right place and what is the right content for in-person professional development versus virtual. So that is where we're at right now. Okay, we are also engaging in professional development during Saturday academies. So we just want to share with you, we met on Valentine's. It was very well attended. And then people got romantic after 1 o'clock. And then we also met on February 21st. So on the 14th, based on feedback and an appetite to continue to engage with HMH coaches, we had HMH coaches come over. And then we have great appropriate sections to be able to do a double down on some of the content that we have released on January 26th. We are continuing to maintain our emphasis on word recognition and word study. On February 21st, we also had HMH coaches to continue to engage in that professional development to create more complex opportunities for our team members. But then you can also see that we have a nice array of professional development options. So we're expanding and moving beyond exclusively literacy. Literacy learning walks. Just a reminder that the strategy of engaging in learning walks is of critical importance for us because it allows our academic superintendents and our principals to be able to come together and take a pulse on how is it that our staff members are making sense of the instructional guidance. So then we can collect the data, we can share it with our colleagues from HMH, and then use that data to be able to engage in modeling that is completely tailored to that, right? Because we have 2 modeling opportunities during the semester, so we want to be absolutely certain that we are modeling for the items that are most important. As we're collecting data, we're concentrating on 4 domains. We're looking at how is it that the teachers, what are the teachers' actions where they're delivering instruction. We're looking for the student engagement when the teacher is delivering the lesson. We're also trying to make sense and collecting data to see if the students are carrying the cognitive load of the lesson. Like who's breaking a sweat when you're learning? I often say that it makes sense for us as the instructional leaders to be breaking a sweat as we're planning because we're learning how is it that we're going to facilitate it. But during the instruction, children are the ones that need to be cognitively engaged to be able to do the learning that needs to happen. So that is the 3rd domain. And the 4th, it is on the application through the instructional task. So we're trying to make sense as to how close are the lessons to that were delivered in relationship to the intent that was in the teacher manual. We engaged in 122 learning walks this year, or this last month, we just started doing them. And then you can see here in the blue bar is connected to this observing the evidence through the teacher actions. And you can see that for the 122, 33 of the times was observed and 29 was not observed. I just want to take a picnic here in relationship to the data because we were observing at different types of the lesson. So it is possible that we did not see something because it was, you can see like the 33 and the 29 is less than 122, but it's because we're collecting data at different types of the lesson. This is the second domain, which is application through student engagement. Here we're asking whether or not we observe students demonstrating understanding of the learning target, for example, and 66 of the times we were able to see that. It was partially observed for 27 and then observed on 15. Once again, this is in the onset of the strategy, and this was the data that we're collecting to be able to then tailor the modeling time. So it's going to be really important for us to look at the second round of walkthroughs to see how is it that this data is moving. The third one is on students engaging and leading the cognitive work. Once again, depending on the time of the lesson, the numbers may or may not add to 122. And this is the important part of the learning, right? Like, are the things that the teacher is modeling, are students being able to take on? And then the last one is connected to how it is that we're delivering instruction that is closely connected to the teacher manual and to the lesson plan and its intent. So overall, really positive baseline data in relationship to implementation, so lots to look forward on the second and the third walkthrough. Okay. So we are collecting this walkthrough data, so then we can benefit most on the HMH modeling and coaching days. Just a reminder that each and every one of our elementary schools that is implementing HMH version 3 during the spring is going to receive 2 modelings. We just started those, and that the HMH coaches that are supporting us at MPS are training the science of reading so we can continue to further our strategy, and that we're using 3 cycles of walkthroughs to be able to measure the effectiveness of the strategy. This is another way of looking at exactly the same information, 2 modelings, 3 walkthroughs strategically positioned. This is another way yet to look at the same information, 3 walkthroughs, and in between those, we have the HMH modeling days. The coaching days are organized in such a way that each of our principals can select to have 2 models or 3. And depending on whether or not they want 2 or 3, we make suggestions for the grade levels. Each of the model sessions has a pre-brief where the HMH coach and the teachers are previewing the lesson together. Then they go into like a fishbowl and they're seeing the HMH deliver the lesson with children that we know by name in the comfort of our own buildings. And then there is a debrief. Each lesson is in a fishbowl, and the pre-model and debrief is about an hour and a half. The HMH coaches are pre-selecting the lessons based on the data from the walkthrough and where we are in the scope of learning. Overwhelmingly, between February 23rd to March 6th, we already engaged in 33 of these, and you can see here a tiny sample of some of the really positive data that we're receiving. I think that it's important to name that that coaching with this level of specificity came completely consequential to the feedback that we receive, and is one of the ways in which we are acting on the partnerships and we're receiving the feedback that, we're acting on the feedback that we received. Because feedback is a gift, and because we want to continue to be able to serve our school communities in the way in which they want to be served, we are developing and we are working through a really clear and predictable ways of working. So the Office of Schools and the Office of Academics are continuously sharing information, and we are working on and continue to tighten our feedback loops. So we are all in this, we're in the know, and we're moving together. We are leveraging principal calls once a week, where we are live with principals and we can deliver content and we can answer questions. We also have a principal newsletter, and we are happy to report that we're engaging in community meetings, so parents and the community at large is in the know of the strategy and can ask questions. We're also working with a great amount of intentionality to include once again, very predictable ways of working. We're having very frequent communications that are coordinated with MTA and SASC. So these are, we know exactly what day of the week it is, at what time it is, and we can plan for our agendas in order to be able to do this. We also have feedback cycles with, we have released surveys to be able to take a pulse from our school communities on the ways in which they are receiving beyond the feedback that you just saw, the walkthroughs and the modeling days. And we are also going to be leveraging feedback that is collected formally by HMH at the end of each and every one of the modeling days. So more information to come on that. That was a lot. Thank you for your time. If you have any questions.
Well, thank you very much for that presentation. Madam Secretary, are there any speaker slips on this item?
We do not have any.
Thank you so much. Do committee members wish to make comments or ask questions? Director Vinoy?
Hello, thank you for all of that. That was 30 slides done very quickly. Thank you.
We're getting better.
That. Can we go back to slide 10 for a second?
Yes, ma'am.
I was just looking at this, and it made me, the numbers on the bottom made me question who is getting this training. Is this a self-selected training? Because we have 1,200 in November, 2,000 in December, 1,200 in January, and then 381. So is it that the responses are not coming back from the surveys, or are we not training all of our teachers, or is it just the survey responses? So just if you could give me some context for that, please.
Administration?
Director Simpson, Director Vinoy, Jennifer Memsal, Chief Academic Officer. Basically what this is we train in different sections. So the November was all of our teachers, K-12. And then December was our K-6 teachers. Okay. And then January was our 9-12, and then February was the M-cubed group. So it depends on the grade level that we're training at the time, yes.
Okay. And are those responses just like, was that how many teachers about, or is the response rate? I mean, can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, it's teachers as well as any staff, classroom staff that have participated in the professional development. So our social workers may also have been part of that, parent coordinators may have been a part of that. And the surveys are there on every session, however, they're optional.
Gotcha.
And so we take the feedback that we get.
Yep. Sounds good, thank you.
Any other follow-up,
Nope.
Director Benoit?
That's
Any
what I was
other
getting.
committee members for comments or questions? Seeing none. Yeah, I just want to thank everybody for the work that you're doing on this. I mean, clearly you're following up on the feedback that you're getting. So when you say feedback is a gift, you really mean it, because we're seeing that the numbers are improving for our professional development, and you're also bringing back information on topics that people have asked us, about. So I really appreciate that. And I just don't want to I just wanted to highlight, I think it was slide 11 I wrote down, but I could be wrong. Just the third comment. I just wanted to highlight how survey responses emphasized and appreciated the connections to strategies for nonverbal communication, trauma-informed practices, and strategies to connect and redirect. And when we think about that whole idea of bringing those resources to the school, having staff be trained in their schools to address the concerns that they're seeing and have it become more embedded. I mean, that's just kind of evidence of the direction that we're going. So it was just nice to see that highlighted as a positive from one of our professional developments. So thank you for that. All right, no further committee members have their hands up, so thank you again. And Madam Secretary, next item, please.
Madam Chair, item 7 is report with possible action regarding the Climate Justice Curriculum Advisory Committee and the district sustainability team. This is an informational item, and although it has been noticed for possible action, no action is required.
Would administration please present this item?
Chair Simpson and members of the committee, Brenda Caselius, Superintendent. another superstar team coming up to talk about their work. I'm super excited as also a climate hawk. Before I present this item, I'd like to note that it was listed as an item info on the agenda, an info item on the agenda. The administration is requesting that the board consider this item for action to approve the sustainability plan as attached. Thank you. At its February 27th, 2020 meeting, the directors referred Resolution 1920R-016 to the SASI committee and formally adopted it on March 17, 2020. In response, administration provides regular quarterly updates on implementation, which includes the establishment of a climate justice curriculum advisory committee led by the Office of Academics and district sustainability team led by the Office of Operations with cross-representation to ensure alignment and consistency. Tonight, the district will present the Sustainability Action Plan, a roadmap to healthy and sustainable schools, for approval as part of its strategic initiatives. To present this plan, I'm joined by Specialist Chelsea Malacara, and following this presentation, we will be happy to answer any questions you have.
Thank you. Good evening, Chair Simpson and members of the committee. I'm Chelsea Malacara, Sustainability Project Specialist, and I'm proud to present the district's first Sustainability Action Plan, a roadmap to healthy and sustainable schools. First, I want to share, particularly for new board members, 2 key school board resolutions that laid the groundwork for sustainability and climate action work in our district. The Our House is on Fire resolution called for the district to integrate climate justice into all curriculum and all grade bands and sustainability practices into all aspects of MPS's work and functions. It also called on the district to develop the Sustainability Action Plan I'm here to present tonight. Resolution 223R-007 called on the district to cut its greenhouse gas emissions by 45% by 2030 and 80% by 2050. And a third resolution was passed to establish a green revolving fund to help fund sustainability and energy reduction projects. The resolutions have really been at the root of all we do in the district to advance sustainability programs, both in the classroom and in our operations. So when we began developing this action plan, it was from the strong foundation of all the great things already happening. Today, across the district, there are students learning not only about where their food comes from, but are a part of the growing and harvesting process using their school's indoor hydroponic farms or outdoor garden beds. Today, there are over 16,000 students playing on a schoolyard that is no longer a sea of asphalt, but a vibrant green space where passive and active learning opportunities are abundant. Today, in every school library, a student could be nestled up with a book from our climate education collection that teaches them about composting, the importance of protecting our earth, and it reminds them that they are just as part of nature as a bird or a bee. Today, there are high school apprentices learning skilled trades that will be essential in a clean energy future. Today, there are over 80 educators who have taken our climate health equity course because they know that when we teach our children that what happens to our earth and our communities matters, they feel empowered to act, build self-resilience, and know they matter too. It is these experiences and many more happening across the district that grounded the plan in reality and shows us what is possible for the future. In December of 2024, we received funding from one of our longstanding partners, Citizen Action of Wisconsin, to hire Green Schools National Network to facilitate the development of a 5-year sustainability action plan using the Greenprint framework. We then assembled the district sustainability committee, which is made up of individuals from different departments who are nominated by their chiefs. In January, we kicked off the planning process with a workshop with members of the district sustainability committee and began a 2.5-month-long process to collect data about the state of sustainability in the district. Then in May, we did a short State of Sustainability Roadshow to share the results of the surveys and focus groups and gain some feedback on the most important priorities. Over the summer, a core writing team took all this feedback and met several times to write the first draft of the plan. And in August, we held a half-day Sustainability Leadership Summit with 100 stakeholders from the MPS community to workshop the first draft. Then the writing committee spent the fall refining that first draft, continuing to seek feedback from attendees of the summit, members of the district sustainability committee, and other small stakeholder groups. When we felt the plan really reflected community voice and was student-focused, we brought it to this committee in December. Since then, we've made some minor changes and worked with Green Schools National Network to put it in the visually appealing, public-facing format you see it today and was attached to this meeting item. This process, the whole way, was community-driven. Everyone from the superintendent's student advisory council to principals, from facilities and maintenance to community partners were part of developing this plan. From the beginning, the goal was to ensure that this document would not only reflect community voice, but that those individuals who engaged with us along the way could see how their input was used. Transparency in this process was really important, so we not only shared what the process was, but the different drafts along the way and sought feedback with those groups listed here. To build the structure of the plan, as I mentioned before, we use the Green Schools National Network Greenprint as a framework. This framework promotes best practices in leadership, curriculum and instruction, culture and climate, and facilities and operations. The framework is grounded in the belief that everyone matters, that students from all backgrounds and zip codes, and regardless of social, gender, and racial identity, should have an equitable opportunity for academic excellence and equitable access to healthy environments. It supports the idea that everyone is both a leader and a learner, and that for systemic change to endure, we need to pursue whole district, whole school transformation. MPS's Sustainability Action Plan, a roadmap to healthy and sustainable schools, is a 5-year plan that truly reflects our community's vision for the future of our schools, our students, and our staff. There are 9 priorities across 3 impact systems, and those impact systems are leadership, facilities, operations, and curriculum and instruction. The plan has been endorsed by both the district superintendent, Dr. Brenda Caselius, and Milwaukee's Mayor, Cavalier Johnson. The priorities under the leadership impact system reflect goals and actions that apply to administrative leaders at both the district and the school level, because creating healthy, equitable, and sustainable schools take consistent, focused, and visionary leadership. Priorities 1's goals focus on strategic integration of sustainability in our operations and learning opportunities and curriculum. Priority 2's goals are focused on building capacity so that every educator and staff are empowered to lead and have the resources and tools to do so. And priority 3 is about consistent messaging in our internal and external communications and telling our great stories. School facilities, which includes our buildings and our grounds, and how those facilities are operated and maintained, visibly demonstrate a school community's values and priorities. At the same time, creating, improving, and learning from green school buildings provides an opportunity for all members of the school community to learn from where they live and practice responsible stewardship. Priority 3's goals are to be responsible stewards of the district's resources by having more sustainable waste management practices and increasing energy efficiency while reducing greenhouse gas emissions. Priority 4. Priority 5's goals focus on safe and healthy learning environments that support student health and the pursuit of academic excellence through improving indoor air quality, sustainable design practices, and expanding access to green space for all. And then priority 6 really prioritizes that nutritious, planet-friendly, and culturally relevant food and food education that demonstrates to students the connection between human health, agricultural systems, and the environment. Curriculum and instructional practices focused on health, equity, and sustainability enable schools to prepare all students to become champions in their community. Priority 7's goals seek to strategically implement environmental literacy and sustainability education in our existing curriculum across multiple content areas and all grade levels, using a collaborative approach and conducting a curriculum audit. Priority 8 seeks to build more connective tissue between facilities and learning opportunities, utilizing our buildings, our grounds, and the surrounding community as living classrooms. Priority 9 is focused on preparing students for those emerging careers in the environmental sector and green workforce by leveraging partnerships for learning and work opportunities in and outside of the classroom. These priorities are ambitious, but are built on foundations that already exist. The plan is a roadmap for growing the branches, if you will, so that the great things that are already happening reach everyone and expand. So how will we do it? Well, no great plan is without a plan to execute it. So over the next few months, the District Sustainability Committee will meet monthly to work on a 5-year implementation plan, which I'll talk through in the next slide. And we'll also be exploring the formation of a student advisory council to ensure that student voice really remains at the forefront. And in the fall, we'll host another leadership summit for students, staff, and community members to showcase their successes and collaborate together on programs and initiatives to continue to move this work forward. Leading this work will be the MPS Sustainability Team, which consists of myself, Heather Dietzel, Sustainability Project Specialist, and Kim Tallarico, Climate Education Coach, district chiefs, and key facilitators who've been identified by their chiefs, and then Green Schools National Network, who will serve as a facilitator in year 1 for development and implementation. So this is a small, I know it's maybe a little hard to read, but this is a small snapshot of how the implementation plan is organized. Each action under each goal is assigned to a chief who has currently identified key facilitators who will really be the boots on the ground implementer of the action. And these individuals are now who will make up the district sustainability committee. Over the next 3 to 4 months, these individuals will meet on a monthly basis with our partner Green Schools National Network to develop the implementation plan by identifying 4 key things. So we'll be identifying key performance indicators, or how we will measure progress and success on those actions. We'll evaluate what progress we've made to date. Many of the actions that we have listed here and many of our goals, we're already doing some work on those items. So we'll be looking at where have we made progress and where is there progress still to make. And then we'll also be looking at what resources are needed to advance the goals. So that might look like staff time, grants, funds, and partnerships. And then we'll also be looking at what potential cost savings and increased efficiencies will be achieved when the action is complete. When this is completed, the committee will meet quarterly to measure progress and identify challenges, collaborative opportunities, and bridges to barriers. We then intend to report out to the superintendent after those quarterly meetings and then to the school board twice a year unless requested more frequently. The actions we take today will really create lasting benefits for our students, our schools, and our community for generations to come. We ask that the Milwaukee School Board of Directors and the SASI Committee approve the Sustainability Action Plan as the district's official strategic plan for healthy and sustainable schools. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I just love hearing about the work that we're doing. I'm so grateful that former President Peterson brought this forward, I know with the help of Director Herndon. So, Madam Secretary, are there any public comments on this item?
There are not.
All right, moving back to committee then. Any comments or questions?
Thank you. I think it's strange that you asked because I was involved in this at Weld and as I'm still involved. In fact, we had a meeting about 2 weeks ago where we want to really get it going again because we kind of got a little slow this winter with everything else going on, but I look forward to it. As you know, I'm very proud of the green spaces that we've built so far. And tonight during this meeting, it came to mind that the sign language was moving out of Morris, and the schoolyard there has already been completed, and it's something to behold. Yeah. So I look forward to a middle school football team or something out there now. So thank you very much, and I appreciate all your work.
Any other comments by committee members? Director Benoit.
I just want to say I'm absolutely thrilled. This is so exciting, and I love seeing this presented, and I always get very, uplifted every time I see you guys present. So thank you very much for all the work you're doing.
It's very important. And the thoroughness of the report and how you highlighted all of the reasons why it's important that we as a district invest in this initiative. So thank you for making that point so well in your report. All right, what is I don't have the script in front. Oh, did you have another? Go ahead. Do you have a motion?
I was going to.
Awesome. That's what I was looking for.
Move to approve this item as presented.
Thank you for saving me, Director Benoit. Madam Secretary, would you please call the roll?
I believe this one was a report with possible action.
Yes.
And you want action? Okay.
Yeah, the superintendent did ask for it.
Oh, my apologies. Move to approve Director Benoit's motion to approve the district sustainability plan as attached to this item.
Yes.
Director Ferguson. Aye. Director Fons.
Aye.
Director Herndon.
Aye.
Director Benoit.
Aye.
And Chair Seamson.
Aye.
That's 5 ayes. The motion passes.
Yay.
Thank you.
All right, Madam Secretary, thank you so much. Madam Secretary, next item, please.
I am definitely getting
a little punchy. I know.
Item 8 is report on the District Multilingual Multicultural Advisory Committee. This is an informational item, and although it has been noticed for possible action, no action is required.
Would administration please present this item?
Boy,
Look at this team walking in.
I know. Some amazing teachers here who have to teach tomorrow probably, who have been waiting here through the faces and here, so appreciative to our amazing teachers here today with us. Chair Simpson, members of the committee, Brenda Casalius, Superintendent, the District Multicultural Multilingual Advisory Committee, known as DMAC, brings together parents, teachers, administrators, school staff, and community members to support and strengthen multilingual and multicultural programming within Milwaukee Public Schools. The committee provides a forum for families to share their perspectives on English learner programs and ensures that planning, implementation, and evaluation of EL programming includes their input and consultation. To lead this presentation, I'm joined by Director Trejo, who will co-present with DMAC liaison, Monica Lopez, ESL teachers, Janie Milana, and Kathy McGraw. Thank you.
Chair Simpson and members of the committee, Rocio Trejo, Director for the Department of Multilingual and Multicultural Education. The District Multilingual Multicultural Advisory Committee is composed of parents, teachers, and a community member so that they have the opportunity to advise the school board and ensure that English learner programs are planned, operated, and evaluated with their involvement and consultation. Joining us today is Monica Lopez, DMAC liaison, Janie Malana, ESL teacher, and Kathy McGraw, bilingual teacher. At this time, I invite my colleague to share.
Chair Simpson, members of the Chair Simpson and members of the committee, Monica Lopez, DMAC liaison. I am honored to be part of the MAC and to collaborate with Dr. Trejo and the DMAC committee members. Who have demonstrated their dedication, talent, and passion over the past few months working on the DMAC proposal and sacrificing their personal time, including the summer, to enhance the education of English learners and MPS with the goal of preparing our students for success in higher education, post-educational opportunities, work, and citizenship. This slide is showing the meeting dates and topics. Through the process, DMAC developed 3 objectives for which we are seeking board approval to move forward with implementation. They are listed in this slide. I now invite DMAC committee member to share.
Chair Simpson and members of the committee, Janie Milana, ESL teacher at Audubon Middle School. The first objective is that we've identified is for parents to gain a better understanding of language programs and services that are offered in Milwaukee Public Schools. As a district, we need to ensure that parents of English language learners have a clear understanding between bilingual and English as a second language programs, and understand that EL students who are not a part of the bilingual program may not receive direct ESL services when enrolled in a school with a bilingual program. Progress has already been made when it comes to addressing this need. Thank you to Superintendent Casilius and the board for authorizing an additional 10 ESL teacher positions in the fiscal year 2026 budget. At the moment, 4 of those 10 ESL teachers approved by the board are assigned to support these students across 7 bilingual program schools out of the 11 schools where this is the case. This information is important to share with parents so that they can make the best decision when enrolling their children in school. Additionally, it is important for parents to understand the benefits of bilingual education to inform their decision for keeping their children in the program until they graduate from high school. With that in mind, DMAC identified the following proposed actions. First, to develop a clearer program description. So DMAC members would like to review and revise the descriptions of bilingual and ESL programs to ensure parent-friendly language and a clear distinction between the programs. And those can later be used for promotional and outreach purposes. We'd also like to develop recorded trainings for multilingual compliance and enrollment services staff to develop training materials and create recorded training in the MPS learning management system to further promote an understanding of bilingual and ESL programs in MPS eligibility and enrollment procedures. Parents who have participated in this committee and who have joined the committee have shared that their experience with the enrollment process was confusing and sometimes realized late into a school year that they had misunderstood what services their students would be receiving at their school. Therefore, the training should be offered to school secretaries, student services staff, and parent coordinators to assist new or existing families with bilingual or ESL enrollment at their sites. In collaboration with the Department of Communications, Marketing, Strategic Partnerships, and Customer Service, Student Services, and Multilingual and Multicultural Education, DMAC will engage in outreach across the city of Milwaukee to promote and explain bilingual and ESL programs for enrollment purposes, not services, my bad. Based on feedback from parents, there is a need for school leaders to identify school staff to support 4th and 7th grade families with middle and high school selection with the use of the materials that we hope to develop throughout the school year and at school events. And we're thinking that these would be used at parent-teacher conferences and open houses to kind of guide discussions about best fit middle school and high school when that enrollment time is coming up. I'll now invite another DMAC committee member to share.
That's okay. Chair Simpson and members of the committee, Kathy McGrath, bilingual teacher at Hayes Bilingual. The second objective identified by DMAC is new bilingual and ESL program teachers will further develop their instructional practices as it relates to language instruction. Our district populations of English learners requires all educators, especially those new to the profession, to possess a deep and practical understanding of effective instruction for language learners. Without this foundational knowledge, new program teachers, including those on emergency permits or working on licensure, may struggle to meet the unique needs of these students, leading to gaps in students' academic and linguistic growth. Therefore, DMAC identified the following proposed actions. There is a need to clearly identify new teachers, those on emergency permits, or those working on licensure, and we'll do this by collaborating with human resources. We'll develop new universal messaging. Key concepts and core practices need to be identified and shared with new program teachers throughout the school year. Instead of one-size-fits-all approach, focused training needs to be provided for this specific group. I will now turn it over to Dr. Trejo.
Thank you. Chair Simpson and members of the committee, Rocio Trejo, Director for the Department of Multilingual and Multicultural Education. The third objective identified by DMAC is strategically offer English as a second language and bilingual programming where the need is identified. As shown on the slide, the number of students with English learner status in Milwaukee Public Schools has grown over time. Third Friday counts for the 2021 school year showed 8,808 ELs and 11,155 ELs for the 25-26 school year. The district has 61 schools with an ESL program or itinerant ESL services. Given the academic and language development needs of this population, the additional 10 ESL teachers approved by the board for 25-26 school year have served to strategically offer ESL services where the greatest need is identified. Additionally, members of DMAC surfaced a need for various staff members to be able to explain EL program options, a parent need for EL programming near their household, and a need for more high school options. Therefore, DMAC is proposing that the Department of Strategic Partnerships and Customer Service, Multilingual Multicultural Education, Multilingual Compliance and Enrollment Services staff identify data sources through which to monitor bilingual and ESL program enrollment to determine and address EL programming needs. Thank you for your interest and time. Please let us know if you have any questions.
Thank you very much. Madam Secretary, do we have any members of the public who wish to make comments?
We do not.
All righty, to committee for comments and questions, Director Fonz.
Do you foresee major declines in English language learners because of federal immigration policy? Because we've seen a major drop in immigration across the country to the tune of over 1 million people. So I'm wondering if those numbers are going to be, are we going to see those numbers reflected in enrollment in Milwaukee?
Anyone from the team?
Director Fonz, Chair Simpson, Rocio Trejo, Director for the Department of Multilingual Multicultural Education. Enrollment definitely fluctuates depending on the status. There are consistent waves at times with refugees, for example. Nonetheless, our enrollment for this school year didn't take a dip necessarily. It's kind of steadying off right now. So I don't foresee like a huge dip happening.
Any follow-up, Director Fonz?
Do you think that's because of the long time for the process? Because we've seen real decreases in refugee status acceptance and immigration across the board.
Anyone from the team? Administration?
All right. Director Fonz, Chair Simpson, Rocio Trejo, Director for the Department of Multilingual Multicultural Education. What also influences is the states. So we may have students that are coming from different states where they may not be as friendly and have the procedures for proper enrollment and all of these things that we have in place in Milwaukee Public Schools. So we do see actually, Malana just mentioned she had 2 new students today. So we do get students from different states, from privates that come back to Milwaukee Public Schools because they know we offer the services. So for those reasons, things tend to balance out.
Thank you. Any follow-up, Director Fonz? No? Alrighty. Any other members of the committee who wish to make comments or ask questions? All right. Seeing none, thank you very much for that update. I always like to hear about DMAC. It provides such a important service to our students and our families, and I love the objectives that you laid out as goals for the work that you're doing. They're really important. So thank you for sharing that with us. Madam Secretary, next item, please.
Madam Chair, that was the last item on this meeting's agenda.
Everybody give a little cheer. There being no further business before the committee, this meeting is adjourned.